Friends of our channel and YouTubers, welcome. Answers of an Alien from Andromeda, Video 113, February 21, 2014. Mithy, the lack of news has left friends somewhat apprehensive. Could you get ahead of anything else at this timeline of the events? Friends, I can forward you some information on the plan realignment that Community Galactica is dealing with, of which we had some access. 3 planets in the system should be adjusted on new orbits in comfortable zone for colonization with humanoid life. Beyond Earth and Taos, the planets Mars and Venus should be realigned to humanoid comfort zone. That is, 3 new habitable planets beyond Earth will be an integral part of the system with life bearable in your solar system. See, these data are unofficial. We do not know the exact ways that scientists will use to this big operation, but big objects was sent to be part of this operation of orbital realignment. This involves the realignment of all the other planets of the system to new orbits, so there is a natural equilibrium of the new arrangement. Can you imagine how the precision and the number of forces that will be necessary to realign the great Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune to integrate new partners into the system without major traumas? But friends, whether this is a key year for completion of changes, be assured that we are here to support communities. The planet Earth will never be the same. Its crust will be remodeled for the new configuration of the planet. When you throw a stone into a lagoon, dozens of rings are formed and propagate in progression until they become large and weak to the point of disappearing. Such a change in the system will cause reactions that propagate long after the rearrangement itself. During this period, your societies will take advantage to rearrange the planet for this new reality, with the help of many friends who will be officially presented to you in the course of those times. Many of these large objects will be noticed by you circling the solar system during these times. Very heavy equipment will be working here until things stabilize. The Sun will respond to gravitational stimuli caused by these changes, but everything is calculated to have less direct impact on the humanoid life on planet Earth. Unfortunately, much of your flora and fauna will be lost momentarily, especially those beings who depend on geomagnetic orientation. The only way things may get out of control will be if some insane principles of your society opt for cause natural disasters, in order to eliminate the population to prevent that. We can help these people in the resumption of the planet. This is the major motivation of your elites, to decrease the population, to reduce the chances of societies or ethnic groups that they may not wish to be ahead of the development of the next phase of the planet. The less people available, the easier it is for them to control the planet with the chosen by them. Therefore, be attentive to any false flag, false events, and false information. Do not count on the help of your governments. Try to organize civilly with your friends, family and communities if possible. You have the free will to plan and prepare for any period of difficulties they try to make you pass. Chances of you receiving help in these times will be quite large, especially for those who are aware and prepared to recognize it. Have you noticed that your government has no more moral conditions of concealing facts as had at other times? More and more researchers begin to talk and tell you about the facts that cannot be glossed over. The arrival of new objects inside the solar system will not be possible to be omitted or contradicted, even that those responsible for information being eliminated. Therefore, the elite is no longer able to cover up the facts, and you will have the time to take precautions and review your concepts to be part of this great transformation as others, integrated in the development planned for this new age. Your people are losing perspective, your young people are aimless, you are increasingly in the hands of a few, depending your social life and your interests based on communication and consumption that are increasingly smaller options. Imagine that you are being directed to a funnel, which will be impossible to leave if you would like to survive socially. This type of targeting is all they want, and if they do not stop by the force of events, you are doomed to live in the funnel, to grow in the funnel and to die in the funnel. A funnel with the outlet ever more closely targeted to the interests of few. The NASA activities are suspended with respect to manned flights in our orbit. You believe that they are planning some other kind of action by installing powerful lasers in large aircraft, Navy ships and even in the ISS? Well, in the first phase of the space program with Challenger vehicles, they seized improperly in stellar monolith marking, which was in orbit. This was considered a deliberate act of theft technology, as the monolith was a scientific unit of the Community Galactica. In 2003, already with Columbia vehicles, there was an attempt to overthrow the ship that you call Black Knight, aiming to explore technology after recovering the ship down on the surface of Antarctica. They wanted to install an explosive charge that would take the spacecraft from its orbit of 13,000 years defined by the researchers of Epsilon Bootis. They were prevented by the force field, and even having been warned, they were instructed to blow multiple loads in perimeter of the field strength in an attempt to destabilize the spacecraft. Failure to follow the warnings had drastic consequences, as you know. From this fact, your governments were reported for not returning to travel on the orbiter until the new social policy is established on the planet. All flights, manned or unmanned, will be escorted by Pleiadians patrols to prevent that cause no major problems or carry weapons of any kind. Your primitive space station has been repeatedly protected from being destroyed by the intervention of those patrol ships. Because without any force field it is subject to disintegrate by the simple shock of your own trash, or micrometeors that currently abound in the system. With respect to your laser cannons, not even cause cracks in the paint of any spacecraft. Do not forget that any spacecraft moving here can get a few miles of your sun without being affected. All have impenetrable force fields, far beyond what your scientific imagination can suppose. About Mesa, very ancient tunnels and old bases that exist on your planet. They were made by way of forming channels of communication between different cultures, where ship service driving along without interfering with other cultures and even with reptilians, hunters who swarmed the planet hunt primitive reptiles. We are talking about the time when the dinosaurs had not yet left the planet before the last ice age. These tunnels exist on Mars, Moon, and thousands of other planets for colonization or simple mining process. Much equipment was left in these mazes by civilizations who researched and cultivated colonies here on Earth. Most were left and persists still protected by some type of field, to avoid being removed by unwary. Today there are no more conflicts in this quadrant that justifies the use of these tunnel systems here on your planet, so they are totally abandoned and many have been interrupted by tectonic movements long ago. Even though technology has long outdated and archaic, are far ahead of yours, for you have an idea how you guys are still at the beginning of the path. With respect to the planet and its changes taking place, I believe I do not need to repeat all that has been said to you earlier. I already gave all necessary guidelines to good perceivers like you. Natural disasters are the destination, but the worst disaster you will have to deal with will be your governments. Lots of insane people are in charge of your societies. It is with them that you have to be careful to dodge the smartest way possible. There are just laws used for the common good and unjust laws that seek to perpetuate the social subservience. These should not be followed or accepted by the conscious of the planet. Do not forget at any moment that friends will be here, ready to assist the restart of your new society, in a renovated planet. That light may shine upon thy ways.